Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Johnny Carswell, Chairman of the Burke County Board of Commissioners, and on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, Mayor Chip Black, Town Manager Seth Eckert, and the Valdese Town Council, I want to welcome you to this momentous groundbreaking ceremony of the Burke County Valdese Public Library Extension Project. This time, I'd like to recognize the following distinguished guests that are in attendance today. From Valdese, Councilwoman Frances Hildebrand. Frances, where you at? Wave your hand. All right. Community Affairs Director Marissa Angie. Okay, in the back, Parks and Recreation Director Doug Knight. Town Clerk Courtney Kennedy. And from Morganton, Mayor Ronnie Thompson. Hey, Ronnie. Councilman Wendy Cato.
She could not.
Okay. City Manager Sally Sandy. I see her standing on the front row. And City Attorney Louis Vinay. And from Drexel, Town Manager Sherry Bradshaw and Alderman Dennis Anthony. And from Rutherford College, Town Manager Kenneth Gathers. And from Longview, our Town Manager David Drone. And Mayor Marla Thompson from Longview. Hey, Marla. And from the Burke County Board of Education, Chairman Randy Burns. Hey, Randy, thank y'all for being here today. We do appreciate you being here for this great ceremony. It's now my privilege to introduce Pastor Ed Stevenson from Arnie's Fairview United Methodist Church, who is going to offer today's invocation. Brother Ed.
Thank you for saying brother, not Mr. Ed. God of us all, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the leadership that you have provided for us in our beautiful county. We thank you for the vision in seeing the need for a bigger and better library for us here in Valdese. Our prayer is that this facility will be used to enlighten and to educate our citizens, and that you will use it to change lives for the betterment of individuals and families and our community. For if one, Lord, is bettered, then through it we are all bettered. May all who enter here do so in the gratitude and thankfulness for the foresight of these community leaders, our county commissioners. And Lord, our prayer continues with the plea that you will protect all who work and labor here to bring this project to fruition. Keep every one of them from harm. Again, we thank you for these wise men and women who allow themselves to be used for your betterment and for our beautiful county and for our brothers and sisters. May God bless this facility and its use. We make this plea, we offer this supplication in Christ's most precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Stevenson, for that great prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today for this ceremony, our president once again validates the significance of our Burke County motto of all about advancing. Stop for just a minute and think about the collaborative effort that was necessary to reach this point in time of this magnificent project. Funds in excess of $500,000 were donated by Burke County, with Valdese, Rutherford College, and Drexel making significant monetary contributions. Almost half of the project funds were from the donors, with the Ralston Family Foundation and the Library Foundation of Burke County being our largest donors. The Expanding Possibilities Capital Campaign raised just over $146,000 from 160 plus donors that included individuals, businesses, and civic groups. What a testament to the citizens of Burke County who understand that a library is not only a vital resource to the many patrons that will use it, but this library will be an economic driver for Valdese and Burke County for many years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, now is not the time to slow down or stop advancing. Now is the time for us to support leaders like Jim Wilson, who have the vision and the expertise to take us into a new and exciting future. Burke County is all about advancing. Would you join me at this time? And I'd like to welcome to the podium Commissioner Jeff Britton for a few words. And then after Jeff and he is finished, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Maynard Taylor. Maynard, if you'll come up. Go ahead, Mr. He's done.
Very pleasant good afternoon to you, and welcome all elected officials, town people, and staff, and especially to the people who run our libraries and so forth. I got my marching orders early. They said it's cold outside, be quick. But I do have a little story to share with you that's true, and it relates so much to what we're doing here today. My dad called the office when I worked at the radio station, said he needed to see me for a few minutes, and could I come by at lunchtime? Well, I honored his request, and I showed up at lunchtime. And he was sitting there reading some stuff, and it happened to be from one of his most favorite people in the world. It was written by Paul Harvey. Now, at our house, if you was eating and Paul Harvey was on, you better not say anything. You might find yourself slapped up against the wall. I mean, it was just about as sacred as saying the Lord's Prayer or thanking God for what we're about to eat. But anyhow, he made the comment to me. He said, I've been thinking for the last half hour or so, you ever consider or thought about what it would be like, now listen carefully, if you could not read? You ever thought of that? And how much of that we as individuals, corporations, companies, yes, even our county commissioners and the government, how much of that we always take for granted. And he proceeded to tell me that if you couldn't read, you couldn't read the highway signs. You just couldn't drive, and you couldn't read the Bible. And he went on with his little tale. But the thing that I want to tell you here today, that one of the equalizers in life, I got about 9 of them, but one of the equalizers in life is education. And it falls in about second place after mom and dad. So it is important that we read, that we teach people to read. So my prayer, and I'm going to end a little shorter than I ended to, but my prayer and request would be that every citizen from age 3 to 103 will come at some time in their life, either at this library, the East Library, East Burke, or either the Morganton Library. Get yourself a book, read, and enjoy the libraries. It's here for you, and it can give you a wealth of knowledge, and if knowledge is power, comes with that knowledge will be power to rule and to judge and to govern your life by. Thank you. Appreciate you coming again.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. At this time, I'd like to recognize our Library Director, Jim Wilson. Jim?
Thank you, Johnny. You all were right not to sit in those chairs. I'm cold. Now, I want to thank everyone for being here today. As I got up to speak just now, you might have heard a big sigh, and it was a sigh of relief that we are finally at this point. This has been a long, arduous journey to get here. We started back in 2011-12 raising money for this project, and it is just now today that we are ready to break ground. So I'm very grateful to be at that point. A little bit of history about the library, and I will keep it brief. The library got started here in Valdese in 1943, right as World War II was going on. The original funding for the Valdese Library, oddly enough, came from Morganton. They had $1,000 of USO money that they used to get the library in Valdese started, and it was a very close relationship for several years. In fact, all of the operational money that Valdese had was being held by the Morganton Library for the first 4 years. The Valdese Library operated out of the old phone company building here on Main Street in Valdese. They had a bit of an issue about the third year in. There was apparently a group of plumbers in town that needed some space to operate out of, and they went to the landlord of the phone company building and said, we're willing to pay more rent than the library, and so the library got evicted. And I've seen some correspondence from Mrs. Stemple, who was the librarian, and she was not very happy about that at all. And speaking of communication, we take for granted today, it's 8 miles from Valdese to Morganton. We pick up the telephone, we send a text or an email. But so much of the communication between Morganton and Valdese libraries back then was done on penny postcards. I've got a whole stack of penny postcards that they use to communicate with. I was telling my assistant director, Paige, earlier, they were very frugal apparently during the war, because a lot of the paper correspondence that they had was on the back side of anything that they had extra left over. So you might find the front side is an advertisement for a book, and on the back side is a letter between Mrs. McVeigh in Morganton and Mrs. Stemple here in Valdese. But the library managed to survive the eviction, and in 1954 they moved into this building, the front part of this building in 1954. And then the back section here was constructed in 1988. And today we are going to add on to that. We will increase the size of this building by almost 50%. And I know in the information age people think, well, libraries may not be relevant. Well, I assure you they are, not just for my employment, but for the betterment of all our citizens. This past year we had the highest number of people visit our libraries that we have ever had, over 140,000 visits to our 3 public libraries. So we are still very much relevant. You know, one of the things that we do in Burke County that a lot of libraries don't do like we do is do programming. And that's one of the main reasons we need this additional space. I have a great staff. They did over 1,300 programs last year for all age groups, with almost 30,000 people attending. So I think you can see we're not just about books, but we do a lot of programming to promote reading, to promote community activities, and this is another step in that journey, is getting this building complete. So again, I thank you for being here. I hope you will be back in about 10 months for a grand opening. In fact, I had a couple people come up to me and say, I hear y'all are having a grand opening on December 7th. I said, oh, no, it's not a grand opening. I said, if you come expecting that, you're going to be disappointed. This is a groundbreaking. So I just want to be clear about that. Groundbreaking, not ground opening. But again, thank you all for coming.
At this time, I'd like to introduce a friend of Burke County, Mr. Roger Holland from Holland and Hamrick. Roger has done great work here in Burke County, and I'm proud to call him friend. Roger?
Thank you. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be working once again with Burke County and Jim as they continue to expand the reach of the library system. It's incredible to me that in this age of iPads and digital media, smartphones and all that, that under the leadership of Jim, with the support and guidance of the county commissioners and the county manager, that the traditional library here has not only held its own, but has continued to grow and prosper. I just think it's a testament to what is going on in Burke County and what Jim has been doing. This same foresight and leadership has served to make Burke County a better place to live, and it's undoubtedly been a factor in increased economic development as quality of life characteristics become increasingly important to companies that are looking to locate. So I'm excited about the opportunities that this addition will afford Jim and Paige and their staff as they continue to play a major role in the development of the county. I'm also very pleased and excited to be working with an excellent general contractor, TC Strickland Construction Company, which is now in, I guess, the third generation, Talmadge? Third generation of a family-owned business. Worked with them for the last 30 to 40 years and always do an incredible job. So we're thrilled when they were the ones that ended up with this. So thank you again for allowing us to play a small role in what's going on here in Burke County. And we couldn't be more excited about what the future holds for the library system and for Burke County. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roger. At this time, I'd like to introduce Talmadge C. Strickland from the TC Strickland Company. Talmadge?
Thank you, Roger. Simply want to say how excited we are to be a part of this project. We've been fortunate to be in Valdese for the past 2 years on a couple other projects, and we're really looking forward to making this a project that Burke County and the town of Valdese can be very proud of. So thank you again.
Thank you, Talmadge. At this time, I believe we will ask the Burke County Board of Commissioners, Brian Steen and Jim Wilson, to come forward as we grab a few shovels here and throw some dirt. right, good math or another one?
Let's do one more.
All right, one more. 1, 2, 3. How's that? Good. All right. Good. Little applause. All right, thank you so much. This time I want to introduce my great friend Jeff Britton, County Commissioner, and he's going to do what we're all looking for, closing remarks.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. It's my privilege to make a few remarks at this point. I didn't wear this polar bear shirt just for no reason. I know it's cold out here and I know you're ready to finish up. But I want to finish up with just a few other words of thanks. And I want to point out our library director again. You know, if you look around us, we're having a real hard time in lots of areas engaging folks. But Jim is doing a great job engaging folks with the library. Many of those are young folks. And so this is an area where, you know, we face challenges throughout our county engaging young folks. And I think Jim really has a great example of what we can do if we work at it. So again, my compliments to Jim, and I've served as your commissioner now for about 6 years, and this is a project that we've been working on ever since I came on the board, and we've been, you know, plugging at it, and now it's finally come to fruition, and we're really looking forward to it, and I'm glad to have been a part of that to this point. I want to thank a few folks, of course, the Library Foundation of Burke County. Again, I want to thank Pastor Stevenson for being with us today. We've got some floral arrangements, balloons perhaps, and other things. The Garden Gate downtown. Again, we thank the Strickland folks for being here, our architect for being here. I want to remind you that we have refreshments inside, and those are provided by Myra's. And I want to thank our IT staff and the folks that helped set up all the video and audio so that you could hear and see today. Okay, anybody I've missed that we need to thank? And certainly Ms. Kay for taking care of us, getting everything together. Madam Clerk, thank you. You always do a fantastic job. So with that, anything else? All right. Please go inside and take part in the refreshments. Hang around. Visit the library while you're here. Thank you again for being here.
Scotty Wood.